Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and welcome to day 24, the last day of By the Well for God's Witness to the Wonder. I hope you are having a great Christmas Eve with your family and friends, and we're just going to craft today. Today's the last day that I will create one of these memory decks cards for the devotional, and I'm trying to put everything together that I've really loved working with these memory decks cards into one card. So this memory decks card is definitely going to have some antique vibes, maybe mixed with a little bit of glitter. I've loved working with this craft heavy stock cardstock from Tim Holtz. It has been so much fun to work with something that's not just plain white paper, and it definitely matches the tones of these cards really well. And it's just fun to try to find ways to use it with distress oxides on top, and just how it works differently than the normal white cardstock. So day 24's devotional is all about how you and I are witnesses to the wonder of Jesus' birth. And it says in Psalm 78:4, "We will not hide them from our children, but tell to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord and his might and the wonders that he has done." And so today I am actually using a hymn, Good Christian Men Rejoice, which is a really fun, vibrant Christmas hymn. And I thought it was the perfect hymn to add to day 24. Now, I've never used this vintage collage medium before, but I figured today was the perfect day to try it. And so I'm spreading it thinly down on this card and then placing my hymn book paper, since it can act like a glue. And then I am spreading it thinly on top of the hymn book paper as well. I did crinkle my hymn book paper up a little bit before I place it down. I really wanted those nice wrinkles in it. And this gives the perfect color to any collage stuff you want to add. Especially for me, if you like the vintage style, this is perfect. It does go on a little bit darker than it dries. And that's okay with me because I like seeing through different things. But yes, pick some of this up if you haven't yet. Now, I also had this mulberry paper that I picked up from a local art store in Atlanta, and it has these beautiful little plants inlaid into the paper. And when I watched a video from Mindy, she had talked about if you use just a water brush pen and outline what you want cut out of your mulberry paper, it tears so easily, and it adds this perfect little torn frayed edge that is just beautiful. And so I decided to try it this time. And guys, if you have mulberry paper, just do this. I mean, I probably should have thought of it myself, but I needed Mindy's help. So if you add that line of water, it just tears so easy. So definitely do that if you are looking at using some mulberry paper. I'm putting 3 different parts of this mulberry paper on my card because I want to have that odd number. And I also want to mimic the card that I created at the beginning of this study. The title card that I did, I had used this mulberry paper as well. So I kind of wanted to bring it all together. On the title card, I had also used this velvet trim from Hobby Lobby. So I'm taking that back out. I really liked the color of this. This is kind of like a deep coral reddish color, and it really matches well with the poinsettias that are included in the digitals and in the die cuts. And so I have that poinsettia taken out. But before I do any of my ephemera, I still want to work on this background. So I'm taking my texture paste out and I'm going to lay it down in a lot of places on this card. And I am just using my normal texture paste because I want it to appear white. And then I am going to also add some of that clear rock candy glitter on top of the texture paste while it is still wet. That way it can attach to it. And this just adds a fun sparkle to the card. Now, when I did lay this texture paste down, I tried not to go over too much of the title of this hymn because that was a really important part to me. And so that is why you see me adding those 3 sections of texture paste just around that title. Now, I could have put this glitter in my glitter duster from Stampers Anonymous to add a more even coverage of glitter, but honestly, I don't care if this glitter gets a little chunky on my texture paste because I love it so much and it's my last card, so might as well chunk it up. We're going all out on this card, and initially I was going to just staple these folds on the velvet trim together, but instead I decided to take out this tan colored thread and make my little X marks. Now, like I said, this does take a little bit of time to do, obviously more than a stapler, but it adds such a fun texture to these cards that it is so worth it in my mind. Now, personally, I don't even care if it is sewn a little messily, and I like the strings actually hanging out from the edges because that just adds something else to the card. But now I'm going to work on adding that verse card to the back side, and this is one of the scripture cards, that the Inexpressible Gifts scripture cards that I've been using throughout this whole series, and it is so fun to find these different ones and match them up with the day that they coincide with. And so today we are adding a Psalms 78:4 to this card. So I want to create a cluster in the bottom left hand corner of this card, and I couldn't do this card and complete it without adding these little tickets. I was so happy to see them in the added printables that you could purchase, and I am going to be using them throughout the year. I don't even care that it says Witness to the Wonder. These are totally my jam. I love them. I'm hoping that By the Well for God creates more for more kids because they were so much fun to use. I did staple them together so I could get a better placement as I glued them. That way I didn't have to fuss with them as much. And then I'm adding this flower with some foam tape. I still need to add a 24 to this card, so I remember that it coincides with day 24's devotional. So I'm taking my Dymo label maker and adding a little 24 to the upper right hand corner of this card. I also feel like it helps balance this card out a little bit, but I'll just add it to the edge and cut off the excess. And after adding that number, this card will be complete. Thank you so much for joining me this Christmas season. I had so much fun working through this Advent devotional with you and creating a card and process video per day. If you haven't followed me over on Instagram yet, you can follow me over there at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I'll link everything I use down below. And if you haven't had a chance to check out day 23's process video, I'll link that next. I hope you have a wonderful day and Merry Christmas.